Welcome, welcome, everybody. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I wanted to just first introduce myself. Thanks for everybody for taking a couple minutes out to learn a little bit more about cyber myth busting. My name is Chris Shalor, Christo IT. We're an IT firm here in the Philadelphia region and handling IT for small businesses for over 25 years now. And I'm going to be very respectful of everybody's time. I'm going to try and keep this right spot on to the 30 minutes that we talked about. And housekeeping. We are recording the meeting. I am going to be posting it up on social media and links to it and so forth and so on. And anybody who registered for it, we'll send the link out for it. So even if you have to drop off early or if you missed anything or want to rewind, the link will be sent out afterwards. If you do have a Q&A, please, I'm going to leave a little bit of time, a few minutes at the end to answer the Q&A, and I'll get to everybody in there. If you want to just use the chat or the Q&A function up at the top of the bar there, I will get to any of the questions there at the end. We'll leave a couple minutes out. And if anybody has anything that they want me to make sure that I cover, please put it in that chat and Q&A as well, and I'll try and get to whatever we need. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into it. Once again, Chris Shalor with Christo IT. We take care of people's IT systems. So we do a lot of work with law firms, CPA firms, financial advisors in the Philadelphia region. We call ourselves, we're the premier IT for billable firms. So if your resources are out billing by the hour for your companies, and if the computer system goes down, that's really where we shine. And today we're going to be talking about debunking some common misconceptions that some people have. Sometimes these are just, they may have started out once as a truth and just kind of made their way out in the ether of things, and they're just commonly held misconceptions about protecting your small business and protecting yourselves. So I'm going to jump into this now, and if anybody has any questions, like I said, please put them in there and we'll get to those questions. Who's this guy? I'm a CEO, so we get the questions all the time. So we typically, we have a bunch of people in the back. Oh, no audio. Oh no. Can anybody raise their hand? Can people hear me? Am I okay on audio? Yes, no? One. Okay. All right. We're good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting this would have been a really unfortunate webinar if there was 30 minutes of silence and me dancing and moving my hands around. Not very much use to anybody. So thank you for letting me know. So what we're going to be doing is we get those questions all day long. We have a wonderful team here at Christo IT. If I look back, I can kind of see them. And we get questions all the time. We live for those questions. We have end users who call us in and say, I'm worried about this, or somebody told me this once, or I heard this from my roommate's cousin's boyfriend's sister, that kind of thing. And we've compiled them over the years, particularly over the past couple of years as COVID kind of pushed everybody out into wherever. And, anxiety got just a little bit higher and people get a little bit worried. And we're here to answer some of those questions here today. Myth number one, I don't have anything worth stealing. Really, it's unfortunate that people have a misunderstanding about what is valuable and what people are looking for, what hackers are looking for, what bad actors are looking for. It's not just getting your credit card number or something along those lines. Your data is valuable. It's even if it's only valuable to yourself. They call it ransomware for a reason. Even if that thing doesn't have any intrinsic value to the black market, it will have value to you. Them locking it away and only giving you access to it if you pay them money. That's how the ransomware works. As an example story, this happened about 3 years ago. Mother standing in her kitchen gets a phone call, and it is her daughter, obviously distraught on the phone. Mommy, I'm in trouble. Please help me. And her, a gruff voice gets on the phone and says, "We need you to send money. They gave us, we need you to send this money over here." Turns out they used AI to replicate the daughter's voice. The daughter was fine. The daughter was skiing with her dad, and they just were on the slopes and didn't answer the phone. Everybody's fine. Everybody's safe, but it really caused some consternation, and this made not only local headlines, this made national headlines all over the place. So just keep in mind that your identification of what value might be is not necessarily exactly what people are going to try and get money extorted out of you for. So just open up your mind to some possibilities of what is actually of value. This one's a common one, incognito mode. If you're using Chrome or Edge or Firefox or whatever, any of those incognito modes, a lot of people are under the misconception that hides me from everybody. That's my blanket of secrecy and so forth and so on. It protects me from all of my data and all of my it protects me from all of that data from getting into the hands of somebody who's going to use it against me. Unfortunately, this myth is also not true. Your internet provider, anybody else who's on your local Wi-Fi there, anybody else in your local network, have the ability to get into that those information packets that are going up and down, and those are not inherently protected just by going into incognito mode. So it protects people from who are also using your computer, if you have a home computer or something along those lines, from seeing some of that history, but it does not protect your data in any way, shape, or form. So make sure that you're using a secure VPN, you're using some encryption, make sure that you're protecting yourself that way, and not relying on incognito mode to keep you safe. I have antivirus, so I'm protected. Also a myth, also something that we need to be aware of. You need your antivirus. This is not this is not an antivirus speech. You need that antivirus. You need to be able to protect yourself and protect the operating system of the machine. However, most attacks now, the FBI released their cybersecurity stats most recently for this spring for 2023. And the majority of attacks are attacking email compromises. And these attacks are intended to get into your email system, intended to get into your messaging, so that, because most of us are in email, living in email, and transacting business in email, sending information back and forth, including like wire instructions, billing information, portal information, so forth and so on. That's where the value is. And that's what they're trying to get into. And if you get into that, they can sit there and lurk for an extended period of time. And again, this doesn't do anything other than getting your credentials into something. They're not necessarily attacking the machine, which is what antiviruses are designed to prevent you from having that type of infection. So antivirus is not a be-all, end-all answer for this. Here's another one. Turning off your Wi-Fi Bluetooth makes your battery last longer. This one is one of those ones that was true once upon a time, probably maybe 10 plus years ago. This once was true. Cell phones, your gadgets, your tablets, things like this used to have the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth in here. The chips that those services used on your phone drew a lot more power than they do today. They're incredibly efficient nowadays, and turning off your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth are, if you have a cell phone that was, made in the last 5 years or so, you're fine to leave it on all the time. It's not going to draw down your battery any longer than a very minute fraction of a percentage kind of idea. So okay to leave that on all the time unless you're turning it off for a specific reason. All my Mac peeps, all my Mac peeps out there, Apples and Macs can't get viruses. Yes, they can. There's plenty of evidence to the contrary on that. There's plenty of viruses out there that are Macs. As Mac grew in popularity, they became a bigger target. Those Apples and Macs out there are also just as much of a target for, back to 2 slides ago, those business email compromises. They don't care what kind of machine that you're using. They're trying to get your credentials so that they can get into your banks, get into your portfolio manager, get into your whatever, QuickBooks, whatever financial systems. They're trying to get to the money, and getting into that email is step number 1. And that doesn't matter what kind of computer you're using. So you really have to be vigilant no matter what. Airplane mode hides you. This one, you may have seen a fairly prominent 2020 expose on this, where somebody drove around the city in airplane mode. I think he even stuck the phone in a Faraday bag so that it didn't even transmit anything, and it still was able to recreate his travels through the city. It showed that he stopped at a McDonald's and he did this and everything like that. So Google, Facebook, etc. can still see you in airplane mode. This is something that you need to be aware of, and it's not a geek. Look, I'm a Harry Potter fan, so it is not an invisibility cloak that you put around yourself. Airplane mode does not hide you. It's something that you need to be aware of, that your internet provider and the services that you have on the phone probably can still see where you are. This myth is self-serving for any of the IT professionals out there, whoever's taking care of it. This is one that used to, again, probably have a little bit of truth in it, and has just lingered way too long. PCs and laptops and devices, as they've gotten more and more efficient, you don't need to shut off your machine every night. It does not draw a whole lot of power. In fact, it probably should be left on for the most part, unless you're putting it in your computer bag or traveling, or just shutting it down. Computers are made to be, they're built to be left on most of the time. They perform maintenance tasks, install updates, things of that nature, in the middle of the night. So maybe you don't have to leave it on every night, but you should feel confident in just leaving it on, and making sure that you're getting those updates installed and keeping your machine up to date so that you're protected from the latest and greatest hacks. I emptied my recycle bin, so that that's a shredding mechanism. That file that I deleted is gone forever, and no one can ever get it. IT person here, most likely it can still be gotten. Any hard drive can be sifted through for a lot of data. We've recovered deleted files that have been sitting on hard drives for probably almost a year. So it's still there. It's still, the ones and zeros are still on the hard drive. Granted, it's a lot more difficult, and it's probably not a layman's guide to getting that file back. Please don't test me on this. I don't want you to test me on this. But we can get the file back typically, and if you toss that laptop in the trash with the hard drive in there, that's a problem. So when the clients that we work with here in the Philadelphia area, when we retire a machine, we're pulling the hard drive out of that machine, and we're actually shredding it using a certified shredding company to make sure that that's verifiable, they send back a serial number and a picture of the device being shredded. So don't rely on just simply removing the data and emptying the recycle bin and then turning it over to maybe you're donating the machine at the end of its life or something along those lines. We highly recommend pulling the hard drive and donating it without a hard drive, or if you need more than that, there are other options available to you if you wanted to do that. But don't just simply rely on emptying the recycle bin and turning it over to somebody else for, a donation or what have you. If I use XYZ browser, the major players are up here on the screen. This is going to keep me safe from any nasty people out there. This is the flavor of the month. They all do very, very, very similar behaviors. They all have very, very similar protections. They all have very, very similar fallibilities to them. X browser being safer than Y browser. The amount of change between them or differentials between them is so minuscule as to I won't waste your time on here. It is more important to modify your behavior and to make sure that you have a sprinkled in, as we'd like to say here, just a healthy little bit of paranoia in your life to make sure that you're worrying about where you're going on the internet and what you're clicking on is 99% more of value to you and keeping you safe than what actual browser that you're using. So let's work on the behavior and not so much the tool that you're using. This one's been around for a while. The FDIC will protect me up to $250,000 from theft or bank fraud. This is true with an asterisk on it. The FDIC is there to defend your up to $250,000 should the bank have an issue, solvency, cash availability, whatever the case may be. It's the bank's issue. This does not protect you from wire fraud or theft or somebody getting access to your account and transferring money out of it. That is not covered by the FDIC. We'll get into cyber insurance in just a second. That's where cyber insurance would come into play. But cyber insurance the FDIC is not giving you $250,000 in cyber insurance policy. Those are two very, very different things. So just we'll get into the banking in just a second, but just be aware that the FDIC is not protecting you from theft or bank fraud. They're protecting you from the bank having a problem of its own. This one, my umbrella or E&O policy will cover me for a cyber attack. I want you to have a conversation with your insurance provider. I want you to. That's absolutely. So we're the IT guys. I'm not an insurance broker. Most insurance companies, we deal with probably about 24, 25 different insurance companies through our clients here in the Philadelphia area. And we've worked with a lot of them over the years, and they all are very, very different in flavors and what's covered and what's not. And you want to be very, very careful about what exactly is covered. I want you to play the what if game with your insurance provider. Just simply call your broker, say, what if a great example would be this weekend, the CrowdStrike had a major problem. Thankfully, here at Cristo, we don't use CrowdStrike, so we didn't have any problem with our clients, but knock on wood as we're doing that. And but you want to play that what if game. This would be a perfect opportunity to arrange a phone call with your insurance provider. I see Bob on here. I saw him on here earlier, so call Bob. And make sure you have a conversation with that insurance provider so that they're giving you the information of if this type of situation had it, if this type of situation happened, if this type of situation happened, what are my protections? What should I be worried about? And also, most importantly, what are the actions that I would need to take as the insuree to what are my first steps? And call an IT guy, so forth and so on, whatever it happens to be. Schedule a call with your insurance broker. This one hurts a little bit because all the fingers point right back at myself. But my IT company has everything covered for me. We sit down with our clients on a quarterly basis, and we're working through, hey, what's going on with your business? This is what we're doing in the background to keep you protected. We're going through security systems. We're going through. We do cyber insurance. We do cyber training, email phishing tests, fake emails and stuff like that. We're going through all of this on a quarterly basis with our clients, and we're trying to make sure that they're aware of what we're doing, how we're protecting them, within reason. We're not going down into the ones and zeros and all of that other fun stuff because you go glassy eyed. But we're making sure that they have the high level bullet points of Christo is doing X, Y, and Z for me, and this is how we're handling things. But you want to make sure that you have that conversation with your IT company to make sure that there's not a gap in understanding of we're handling this and you should be handling this. Make sure you have that conversation so that you're not making an assumption. And I won't bore you with the the details on that one, but you're not making an assumption that something is covered and it's not. So I wanted to leave a little bit of time here at the end, but I really want you to take from this these 3 action steps. And we talked about calling your insurance broker. Bob, thank you for that. Not all insurance policies, none of the insurance policies are the same. So you want to talk to your broker about how to get, first of all, if you don't have a cyber policy, that's okay. You may or may not need one, but it's absolutely an insurance question. But don't rely on the fact that you may or may not have had a rider when you first signed up for the policy, because over the years, they've pared away to make sure that your E&O policy and your umbrella policy are typically just handling if, for instance, when they call it electronics or something along those lines, as an example, like if somebody breaks the back door or the back window of your car and grabs your laptop out of the car, a typical electronics rider on your policy will give you the replacement cost of that laptop, as an example. It depends on the insurance company, but that's what they're referring to, not necessarily somebody getting into your account, stealing money, getting access to your bank, getting access to your financial systems. That's a completely different story, and that's something that you want to have that conversation with. Number 2, again, repeating myself, call your IT company. Make sure you know there are a ton of stuff that we do for our clients to keep them, on cruise control from an IT perspective, keep everything up and running, make sure that they're protected from all the bad guys out in the world. But there are still some responsibilities that the people that work at our clients need to have, and we want to make sure that we have that continuing dialogue. And then 3rd, this is something new that I haven't brought up yet. Develop a written information security plan. This can be just a simple document. It does not have to be a 500-page, Odysseus type of thing. We're not asking you to be Homer out there and create some huge document. It could be something as simple as maybe 5 or 6 pages. Here's all of our vendors. Here's our IT guy. Here's our internet provider. Here's our insurance broker. Here's all of in case we have a problem, here's the just in case break glass. We know all the 800 numbers to call. We know the account numbers that we need. Here's the details that we need to know on the inside. It's a really helpful mechanism to just make sure, and then just update it once a year. Typically, when you're renewing your insurance policy, that's a great time to just go and make sure that all of those things are still the same and that you're keeping yourself together. So I left it open here just enough time to answer a couple of questions. Renee, thank you for chiming in. Yeah, it is sad, unfortunately, that the FDIC protection is not what we think it is. It would be nice if it was, but unfortunately, you need to rely on your own insurance and your own risk protection, not on the government entity there. Can you explain what the CrowdStrike is? So what happened over the weekend, you may have seen it as a Microsoft problem or something along those lines, and you may have seen in the news airports were significantly affected, airlines, financial institutions, some banks were affected, where they referred to it as a Microsoft problem. And it technically was a Microsoft problem, but it was caused by an antivirus program called CrowdStrike. Crowd, CROWD. CrowdStrike is an antivirus program that is designed to protect you. And what happened, unfortunately, was one of the updates that it auto updates occasionally whenever it has new things that happens, new signatures, things of that nature. And one of those updates, unfortunately, caused the machines to go in a repeat boot loop, and you had to go in and remove the last little update and have it reboot again, and then the machine came back up and running again. So they have since fixed this. It's unfortunate that it lasted a couple days and affected a whole bunch of tough people, and it's still ongoing right now with some people just recovering and trying to get back up and running again. What could have been done on that? They are asking those questions right now. They're looking at ways to prevent this in the future, but unfortunately, this is just uncovering all of those problems. Bob, almost every cyber insurance policy is different. Yes, absolutely, because they're like I said, we're dealing with probably 25 different providers out there. You have Coalition, Tokyo Marine, Lloyd's, and they all have positives and minuses to them. Some of them deal more specifically with certain industries. These, again, would be questions that you want to have with your broker. The first step would be call the broker that you have for your business insurance, your umbrella insurance policy, and they're going to steer you in the right direction. Some brokers kind of shy away from cyber policy because it is a little bit of a different animal. But absolutely, that's the first place to start with on that one. Yes, my hospital affected, and we had to use downloaded forms. Renee, it's unfortunately a lot of people, hit the rollback machine 25 years and started doing, paper tablets, and they were Xeroxing forms and so forth and so on. Unfortunately, that's I think Delta is just almost up to getting all of their airplanes back up in the air again. It really affected them badly, and unfortunately, that's the way it is. Linda, will we get a copy of this presentation? Yes, the presentation, the recording, and the presentation are going to be available online. All the people who registered for this, we're going to send out the links so that you have the ability to do all of that. Can Robert put his contact info on the chat for the cyber policy? Yes, I will put Robert's. I will send Bob's Merle. I've known Bob probably for a dozen years. Bob, you didn't know you were walking into a commercial. I've probably known Bob for a dozen, 15 years or something like that. Bob's a local insurance agent in the area here. We're out in the Montgomery County area, and I can absolutely include Bob's contact information and when we're done all of this. Bob, I usually recommend getting a real cyber insurance application and review it with their IT professional. Yes. Thanks for the lead in on that one, Bob. We do for our clients, we actually review and answer the cyber policy for most of our clients. Like the clients will fill out page 1, for instance, with all of the insurance type information, and then pages 2 through 7 are the technical questions of the IT, the antivirus, the backup procedures, the encryption procedures. We're filling all of those details out, the 1s and 0 pieces of it, so that we're making sure that all of the protections that we're putting in place are positively influencing the premiums that you have to pay for that policy. We want to make sure that we get you the best premiums on that one. So, yeah, Lowell, you thought you were just learning today, Bob. If everybody can everybody see the chat going on? Get a thumbs up. There's Bob's contact information. Fantastic. Good. Bob dropped it in there. So reach out to Bob. Great guy. I've known him for years. He's a great contact to walk you through what you might need, the amount of coverage, what's covered, so forth and on. Like I said, that's probably one of the first things you want to take to. And then finally, here's my contact information up on the screen. You got the QR code there. You've got my email address. Obviously, there's 80 more myths out there that we could cover. These were some of the most commonly asked questions that we get. Again, I want to be respectful of your time. We came up on 30 minutes here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time, and we'll get all of this information out to you in just a second. And appreciate it. Enjoy Friday Eve and enjoy your Thursday afternoon, and reach out to me with any questions. Thank you, everybody.